Good morning. I'm Braden Bell, and wow, it's hard to believe that just 5 years ago I was on this very stage giving a TEDx presentation about how to bring technology into education and how to create a 21st century classroom. I spoke and Oakridge listened, and today I'm here to talk about China and the benefits of studying abroad. So many of you know, last semester I spent abroad in Beijing, China. I lived with a Chinese host family, and it was actually an amazing experience for me, unforgettable. So why China? This is one question I've been asked so many times in both English and Mandarin, and to be honest, the answer varies depending on who's asking the question. If a Chinese person were to ask me, I'd most likely say, oh, because China has such a long history and culture. But if an American were to ask me, I'd most likely say, because it's easier than Spanish. Which it was for me. This was true for me. But the truth is, why I chose to go to China is because, well, one day I was having a panic attack about my future and what I was going to do when I grow up. So I decided to Google how to be a successful international business person. And the first thing that came up was learn a new language, preferably Chinese or Arabic. So that was that, and I was on a plane with 42 other students from all across the country headed to China. When I first got there, it was really crazy. Okay, so the plane lands, and we're rushed off the airplane, and get on the bus, get on the bus. So I get on the bus, and then we get to the front of the school. We pull in the gate. We're not even in the school, and there's Chinese parents all around the bus, screaming and get off, and they're it's a mob swarming us. They're screaming in Chinese. We're 42 Americans. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what they're saying, and they're pulling us. So I eventually got pulled away by a Chinese family, and they took me home with them. And they actually turned out to be some of the most amazing people. They were so patient with me when I had no idea what they were saying. They spoke no English. We lived in a Chinese hutong. So this is what it looked like. A hutong is traditional Chinese living. So traditional Chinese living is they have this traditional Chinese door right here. This is kind of it's kind of an old beat up one. Like I said, it's old time. So this is pretty much what mine looked like here. The door would most likely be red, the nicer ones. But you go in, and there's a building to your left, building to your right, which is usually where the grandparents stay, and then the main building to the directly in front of you, which is the main house. But ours is more of a modern one, so it's built up an apartment kind of. And the apartment, it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and there was 5 of us, and a half bath and a bucket to bathe in. So it was really a different transition for me. I lived with Baba, Dad, Mama, and my older brother, and his girlfriend often stayed with us. Yeah. Anyways, here's another view of the Chinese hutong, kind of what it looked like. Like I said, they are traditional Chinese living, so most of them are very old unless they've been restored by the government. So this is pretty much almost exactly what mine looked like. Okay, so let's talk about the food. Well, first of all, I have never eaten so much rice in my whole entire life. I cannot express how much rice I've eaten. In America, it's different. My mom fixes rice, she'll put a cup of sugar in it, a stick of butter, and make it taste good. But here, it's plain rice, and it's not a matter of, what's for dinner. I know I'm gonna have rice. It's just what's gonna go on top of the rice is the question. So that was really different for me to get used to. Here's some more foods that we ate. Peking duck was really famous for Beijing. It was a really, really big thing in Beijing. Peking duck was everywhere. Some dumplings at the top right over there. And these chicken feet over here. So I didn't know this, but it's kind of it's a polite thing. When you go into into a Chinese house, they'll often offer chicken feet. And it's a polite thing to eat. So I often ate that. I wasn't crazy about it, but I did it. It wasn't as bad as you would think. It's just chewy. Actually, there's a funny. I said I wasn't going to tell the story, but I'm going to tell it anyways. So one day I was coming home and like, okay, I got to my bedroom and everything, and then I was like, Baba comes to my room. He's like, what's up? Like, you want to go play some ping pong? I'm like, I can't today. Like, I have this huge environmental science test tomorrow. Like, I really got to study. He was like, oh, okay, like, I understand. Like, he was like, it's tomorrow, right? I was like, yeah, it's tomorrow. He was like, okay. So he was like, we'll be right back. So him and Mama, they leave really quick, and they're like, dinner's going to be late today. I was like, okay. So then they come back, and they're like, okay, like, dinner's ready. And I come in the dining room, and they have a chicken laid out on a plate, like a chicken with the wings and head and everything. And it kind of looked cooked, but not really. Like, the skin was still, you could still tell, you know? And so he grabs a spoon, and like he cuts the chicken's head off, and then he splits the head open and pulls the brain out. And he says, you have to eat this. This will make you do good on your test. Like, you have to eat it. And I was like, there's no way I'm eating this. Like, this is not gonna happen. But after a little, like, they looked really disappointed, and after a little thinking, because my family, they made an average of probably about $400 US a month. This is a combined income of the 5 of them to pay everything from water, rent, light, electricity bills. So it was kind of a big deal when they went and like got a chicken or something like that to cook. We only really did that like on birthdays and whatnot. But one thing you have to understand is things are a lot cheaper in China. Like, I probably spend about $3 US a day on all my meals if I ate out for every meal. So that was different. But I ate part of the brain, and it didn't help me on the test. So okay, so let's change it up a little bit. Let's talk about studying abroad and why studying abroad. So studying abroad was an essential part. It is an essential part to any proper education. This new globalized world that we live in is here, and it's here to stay. And it's our responsibility as educators and students to properly prepare. The truth is, American college graduates lack the international experience and language capabilities and cross-cultural communication skills needed to thrive in today's global economy. Studying abroad gave me these tools, and it pushed me out of my comfort zone to experience diversity and difference firsthand, and enabled me to recognize and then dismiss stereotypes placed upon others. Michelle Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, is a very strong advocate of studying abroad in high school. She said, I quote, "Studying abroad isn't just an important part of a well-rounded educational experience. It's also becoming increasingly important for success in the modern global economy. Getting ahead in today's workplaces isn't just about the skills you bring from the classroom. It's also about the experience you have beyond our borders with people and languages and cultures that are very different from our own." Now, this photo is truly a historic picture. It was taken in front of my school, the second high school attached to Beijing Normal University. It was the top school in Beijing, so the academics were gruesome. But this is the First Lady of China meeting the First Lady of America for the very first time. And that's School Year Abroad classmates in the back there. It really was, that really was amazing. And she also expressed the political importance of us being in China. We helped mend a sometimes strained and weary relationship between the Chinese and American governments. And President Obama reiterated the same thing when he came to visit later that year in November. So that was really great. Oh, this picture. I have to tell about this picture. Most of you probably saw this on Facebook or something. But this lady in the middle is Swan Miao. She's kind of like the Chinese Kim Kardashian, so it was really crazy. Okay, so here's what happened. We were in the more modern part of China, like Beijing. We were in Sanlitwar, which is there's big buildings. It kind of reminds me a lot of like New York. It looked just like New York. But we were walking around, and then all of a sudden, we see her standing in the middle of a clearing, and there's 30 paparazzis all around her, just taking so many pictures. She's posing and everything. So we thought it'd be funny to go up behind her and photobomb her and do bunny ears or something. So we go up behind her, and then she doesn't know we're there, and then paparazzi go crazy. They're get in, get in, get in. So we all get in, and they take probably thousands of pictures of us, and we ended up doing a whole photo shoot. It was really crazy, but these are some of the pictures, and that's her best friend in the red. Yeah, that's her best friend. So that was a really great experience there. Okay, when I first expressed interest in studying abroad, I was met with a great deal of resistance. My dad to this day does not understand why I wanted to go to China. A lot of people ask me, like, you know they're communists, right? I'm like, yeah, I know, it's fine. But but I was often told that I was not mature enough, that this type of thing should wait until college. I should wait till I'm older for this type of thing, but I knew it was my responsibility and my future I was going to have to live through. So it was my responsibility to take charge of my future. But ultimately, I'm so glad I had this amazing experience. It helped me grow in ways that I know I never could inside of an Oakridge classroom. And I hope that me being up here and speaking to you all helps encourage more high schoolers and middle schoolers to want to take their education to the next level, want to expand their education beyond the classroom. And I also hope for the next student who says, I want to go to China or Korea or New Zealand, will be encouraged to immerse themselves into a language and culture and society that they know nothing about. And they will be praised for having the courage to want to expand their education. It took 5 years for the Oakridge School to bring its classrooms to the 21st century. We were a little late, but we made it. I hope it takes less time for the students of Oakridge to no longer just be citizens of Arlington or Colleyville or Flower Mound, but citizens of the world, global citizens. Thank you.